Okay, is this thing working fine? A unique way to stream? Yes, indeed. All right, so hello, buzzing folks. It's Queen Bursty, and well, I'm sorry. This is a very different type of live stream. I usually be outside to work out and stuff, but I'm a little lazy today and kind of wasn't in the mood to be walking around the neighborhood and was just a little too tired because it's been raining for a couple of days and it's been affecting my mood lately. But here I am back again for another stream, but this is a very different one. Yeah, and if I sound lazy, then yeah, that's the thing. But before I get started, you guys can say hello. I'll say hello back. And no rush, take your time. Hey Charles, I'm doing really good. I'm a little lazy today, but still want to do a different stream because I did say I wanted to do something different. And so for today's stream, I basically want to talk about this very interesting plot point when it comes to stories. It's basically called rising action. So after the introduction of stories, like, the beginning and stuff, like introducing the characters and blah, 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 and this and that, and locations or settings, as they call it. So rising action, that's when the something tense is about to happen. And usually that's usually like the fun plot point because you want to get your readers and viewers up to the action, like when it's about to begin and stuff. And that's usually the most exciting part. And whenever I watch movies or play video games, I do be excited for those plot points. But the difficult thing with those is that don't start it too early because then people will be caught off guard. Oh, thank you, Charles. I did saw it and I absolutely loved it. Did a great job, honestly. Oh, I am so sorry, y'all. I am very lazy today. Yes, Bursty is in lazy mode. Yeah, sorry for the awkward silence. I just thought I heard something. But anyway, so you guys have any interesting questions about when it comes to the rising action plots of the stories? Like it could be anything like what to do and what not to do and this and that and third. And no worries, buzzing folks, you can take all the time you need. Ooh, all right. So, all right. Let's see. What else could be very important about rising actions? Rising actions can sometimes be like the beginning of like chapter 2 or sometimes the ending of chapter 1. Well, obviously because it is the beginning of chapter 2. So, but other than that, when it comes to like characters during the rising action, sometimes you can use another character, like let's say a side character, like somebody who the main character knows or gets along with or is in a relationship with, or is like a family member. Basically, they could sometimes be used as a plot point, or you can use them as like a what you call it, like a assistance to the main character. so they can help them achieve their dreams or to complete their goals or anything like that. But it can be a bit tricky at times because I know that those they have their moments. And I totally agree, they do have their moments. And of course, we all can recall that with some stories back in the day, sometimes the characters they can be like a bit of hit or miss. Sometimes they could be iconic, sometimes they could be really annoying, or other times they could be just well, basically very odd. Sometimes odd in a good way and sometimes odd in a bad way. But we can't forget that the fighting styles, those be a lot of fun. Like you can give them any fighting styles. You can give them like let's say boxing fighting skills, or you can give them martial arts or karate, or what was the other one? Jiu-jitsu or any more like that. And if you always want to like check out like what if there's any different types of fighting styles, you can definitely do that because the internet basically can give you all the clues that you need to find the details for how you want to do the character and stuff. It can be tough, but it can also be fun too. And sometimes the toughest thing when it comes to writing a characters with fighting styles is that you don't want them to be too OP because then it'll make them bland and pretty uninteresting. Or if they're too stoic to the point where they don't have like any emotions or anything like that, then how is the reader or the viewer or the player supposed to feel like what that character is going through? It sometimes makes you wonder what? Or how are they even going through this or that? And it makes you wonder how did they go through all that without showing any emotions? But if you do have an answer to that, you can always answer that later on as to why they're not very social or not very emotional. Because sometimes there could be a reason for it. And we all know what happens when it comes to, excuse me, when it comes to reasons. But other than that, if you guys have any questions for like any Rise in Actions part of the stories, you can always ask me since I've been practicing when it comes to writing. There are some genres that I don't know how to do yet because I haven't gotten there yet, but I will try it out at some point. But the only one I'm probably not going to do is that time travel story because they are very, very easy to mess up. And I am not going to mess up and do a time paradox because you got to have rules, you know? Everything must have rules and limits to everything, especially in Rise in Actions. Like you can show that the character is having a difficult time beating their opponents, and it's because either because they were fighting for the first time and they never experienced anything fighting related, or they are trained, but they're just not like trained enough, like the villain or whoever it is that they're fighting is, like goons or something like that. And seeing them get their butt whooped, it's like, wow, they got to do better. But if they go through that whole entire story and never trained and still get their butt whooped, then honestly, it's a problem. And then people will add them on the list as the weakest character or the character who complains a lot. And trust me, there are some characters that who I don't really like that much. I would say who it is, but if I do, then we'll be here forever. And I'm sure not everybody will like that. Like Kodak? Yep, correct. And honestly, yeah. And let's see, what's the other important thing to rising actions? Oh, if you also want to do something related to like stealth, you can do that too if you want. Like, let's say if a character is like a ninja or they're a spy, you can definitely do like, let's say stealth action missions, because those usually do be fun to watch. Like, for example, James Bond. Definitely love James Bond. 007 style. And I think 007 is the reason why 7 is my favorite number. And some people have been asking about let's see. If James Bond been going through all those missions, then will he ever have a chance to settle down? Well, maybe the answer will be no, because when you're a spy, it's a very big responsibility. And also, he tried to be in a relationship so many times, but the women that he ended up being with, they either do two things. They end up betraying him or they end up getting killed. And that honestly makes it difficult for James Bond to ever think about settling down. And honestly, I could feel that for him, and maybe it's best for him to stay single so that way he don't have to deal with too much because he's already got a lot going on with his life. And you know what? Those actually are very interesting plot points about characters and why they always have a difficult time like settling down and hanging out with friends or making friends basically because something that's part of their life is holding them back and they won't be able to enjoy a happy life because of what they're going through. It's tough, yes. It's difficult, yes. And honestly, it is a shame, but they still try. And let's see. Let's see, what's another thing? I'm thinking deeply about it. Oh yeah. So if you also want to do this interesting plot point where if a character has like a family and they want to start to have a family and something in their life is coming back to haunt them or to make their life difficult and taking their family away from them. Sometimes those details are a bit dark, but still you can do those if you want. And to show how much it affects that character and how they're going through that long journey so that way they can either get revenge or to try to make their lives better or to get over the trauma that they went through. Because we all know trauma is not easy to conquer. Honestly, it's never easy to conquer. And so, let's see what other thing. Um, if there's a, oh yeah, this plot points. So, if your protagonist is a villain with the rising action part, sometimes the interesting part is when uh the other character who's a hero, they're supposed to be the antagonist, but they're the hero. So when the villain is causing like a lot of trouble for everyone, what you can do is that the hero who's in the who's taking the other role, they can do whatever they can to make sure that the place that they live in is at peace again because they are fighting the villain who's causing trouble. And basically the villain is the protagonist and those be quite unique. Hey there, everyone. It's good to see you. And I know I'm doing my screen is black, but I'm kind of a little lazy today and kind of don't feel like going outside. So I decided why not just do a peaceful stream. Queen Burst being lazy. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Or is it? And so basically, I'm just letting everybody know that if they have any questions about like the interesting part of the stories, which is called like the rising action. And basically, I didn't know what that was at first until I learned about it back in middle school when they were going through the plots of the stories and then how each of them is like split into many different sections to keep the viewer or the reader or the player engaged. So the beginning, which is the introduction, the rising up, rising action, the middle, the climax, going back down, the falling action, and then the final part is the conclusion. And that got me so intrigued when I first heard about that that it inspired me to want to create my own stories in the future. And basically, I'm doing that now with I'm doing that now with my laptop. I've been doing it since high school, but it's been a dream of mine to make sure my stories be out there for everyone to read and to show that anybody can create anything despite their diagnosis or any type of disability that they have. Pretty interesting, right? And also, you guys can let me know if my sound quality is good because I kind of can't tell because I'm wearing this earplug. But it kind of it's basically my version of a microphone because I don't have an actual microphone. Let's see. Okay. All right, still doing pretty well. And we all can't forget that rising action. They do be the very important plot points in stories. And if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. I can't help it, and it's not my fault. I know. And maybe at some point, if my special book that I'm working on, if it does go out in public, I'll make sure everybody knows about it so they can read it. Because honestly, I've been working on this story since like, wow, I think like, hmm, it was either college or high school, one of them. It was one of them, I think. And honestly, I've been changing lots of things about it. And now I see why these authors they be sharing some very interesting stories about how much the story has changed and what the character was originally going to be before they were changed in the uh final what's the word final decision that's what it was. Or sometimes they call it design if it's like a drawing or something like that. But sometimes those original ideas they sometimes be very interesting, but or at the same time you're like, I am so glad they scrapped that idea. And if you guys are a bit curious about this special story that I've been working on, you guys can ask me a question about what it's about. Because honestly, I did change some things about it, and it's going fantastic. And the reason why I call it very special is because it's the one that I've been working very, very hard on. And it's kind of been my longest story that I've been working on, and the one that I've been so deeply passionate about. And once I changed it to from the different idea that I had, I was honestly very impressed. And it was thanks to some of my favorite YouTubers when they were talking about how interesting it'll be to do like a different twist around the stories and what to do and what not to do, and how to show how much that character wants to go through their goals and how much it means to them and how much they want to achieve that goal. It's pretty much it's pretty much like a person in real life when they want to achieve that goal that they've been working really hard to achieve. But sometimes they be doing those stories where sometimes their dreams don't come true, which honestly is true. And I'm sorry for those whose dreams didn't come true, but are still working hard to try to achieve it. Because we all know trying to achieve your dream is it's never easy. Even for me. But at least you can say you tried. Jeez, neighbors. Okay, and so and I'm sorry I'd be doing awkward pauses. I'd be trying to make sure I listen out for things. Because they always say keep one ear open just in case you hear some things. But yeah. And if you guys ever want to try like to ever want to write a story of your own, you can totally do that. And there's one app called Fiverr. They do some really cool designs with the pictures and how you want the picture to be. And there's so many different art styles that you can choose. You can choose either like the children's art style or the anime art style or comic book art style. And honestly, some of them are actually like really beautiful because they've been putting like lots of effort in them. And I always give credit for effort. Effort must always be credit. And we all know it's almost never easy. And don't worry, guys, I won't be like streaming like this all the time. It's only when I'm in lazy mode is when I'll start streaming like this. But I will start streaming again back outside once the weather calms down because yesterday's rain was not okay. Oh, and the other day the thunder was so bad that it made the house rumble, and that was honestly kind of scary. And I kept joking around thinking that Thor's mad or something. Who would have thought Thor could get so mad? Or is it Storm? But if I had to pick who would be the top, maybe Storm? Because she does have the power to control any weather she wants. And Thor, I think he just basically has the power to control lightning. That's why he's called the god of thunder for a reason. But I guess you could say Storm is just out there just sending a message to everyone because we all know her. And I do like how she's a part of the Wakanda bloodline. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going off topic. But it's okay though. If you guys enjoy like the whole superhero talk, then no problem. And also, this won't be too long of a stream because I'm still a little lazy, but next time I'll do better. And I'm still kind of nervous when I do streams because I'm not really a social person, but I still try. I still put my anxiousness aside and just continue to do it. And I'm sure anybody with social anxiety can relate. I don't fully have the full social anxiety, but I do sometimes get anxious when it comes to talking to people. And sometimes it can make me too nervous to the point where I just become mute. But honestly, I don't think anybody has ever done that. I don't think people have ever done well, maybe. I think some people may have done a selective mutism character. I guess you could say maybe the video game characters back then, but that was back then when audio wasn't really like the best and voice acting wasn't like at its best either. But I'm sure there are some characters who I do remember who don't really like talk or don't talk at all. Even the ones who don't talk, they still like make noises as a way to communicate. Or use sign language. Either way. And so other than that, I'm still in lazy mode, but if you guys have any questions about the Rising Action plot point, you guys can go on ahead and ask me before I end the stream because I'm a little hungry right now and want to go eat before taking a nap. And don't worry, folks, I'll be fine. I'm not going to be lazy 24/7. Take all the time you need. All right, so okay, that's nothing too important. Okay. And sorry if that vibration scared you guys. I forgot my phone is on vibrate, but it's okay. And so I know this stream was kind of, I guess you could say, boring-ish, but at least I tried and try to give you guys some advice with the Rising Action. But maybe next time, once I do come back, I will do the what you call it? I'll head straight to the point about the climax part of the story. So other than that, I hope you guys take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys around. Bye, buzzing folks.